Will Durant, The Lessons of History. Dive into the fascinating world of The Lessons of History, where Will Durant unearths the foundations of humanity's growth and development through the lens of geography, human nature, and societal changes. Explore the impact of geographical conditions and technological advancements on humanity's progress and the role of competition and inequality in shaping our societies. Uncover the fluidity of morality across generations, the relationship between various governance systems, and the persistent presence of war in human history. This enlightening summary takes you on a guided tour through the building blocks and indispensable components of history, with the aim of illustrating how the past has shaped our present world.
The impact of geographical conditions on civilization. The geographical conditions of a city or region play a significant role in its development and success. Throughout history, people have settled near rivers, lakes, and oceans for their plentiful supply of water, food, and transportation. The space between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers in Mesopotamia allowed civilizations like the Sumerians and Babylonians to develop and thrive. Similarly, ancient Egypt and Rome prospered beside the Nile and Tiber rivers. However, extreme climates and changes in geographical conditions can cause civilizations to decline or fall. With advancements in technology for transportation, a civilization's dependence on geographical factors has decreased. Trade routes are no longer bound to rivers or seas with the invention of cars, trains, and planes. As a result, the commercial advantage of coastal countries like England and France has declined, while landlocked countries like Russia, China, and Brazil have gained an advantage. The natural order of inequality. Humans are inherently competitive due to their ancestral proclivity for violence. Cooperation only comes about to gain a competitive edge against other groups. States arose from this competition for protection. Our competitive nature means inequality is natural and reducing it comes at the cost of freedom. Genetics determine our physical and mental strengths, making us unequal from birth. As societies become more complex, our inherent inequalities become greater, necessitating the restriction of freedom to create more equality. The freer people are, the more unequal they become, as freedom allows certain individuals to gain unfair economic power. Race and civilization. The traditional belief that white people are genetically superior to other races was brought about by Joseph Arthur, Comte de Gobineau, a French aristocrat who is believed to have inspired modern racial thinking. Gobineau argued that physical and mental abilities were determined by race, believing that only the white race could create civilization while other races could not. He claimed that environmental advantages and political institutions could not explain the rise of civilization. Gobineau also believed that white civilization degenerates when whites intermingle with other races. However, advanced cultures have existed all over the world, including in China, Central and South America, and ancient Greece and Rome, which drew a lot of influence from Asia Minor. Therefore, civilization is not a product of race but rather of geography. Human nature and cultural evolution. Human nature may have evolved biologically, but our basic instincts have remained the same. However, cultural evolution has radically transformed us and determined our social behavior. Innovative individuals have put new ideas into society, and their success has been measured by the majority of people's response to them. Throughout history, our species has undergone a great deal of economic, political, intellectual, and moral change. Still, it's our cultural environment that ultimately shapes our behavior. Thus, if a baby could be adopted from ancient Greece into present-day France, they'd grow up to behave like a modern-day French citizen. The Prophet Muhammad, Napoleon, Marx, and Lenin are some prominent personalities who have left their mark on society. Human evolution has been social, not biological. The evolution of morality. Morality is not set in stone and undergoes change over time. The moral standards of people from different eras and cultures vary. In the hunting phase of human history, survival traits such as greed, brutality, and aggression were necessary for men. However, during the agricultural period, virtues such as industriousness, cooperation, and peacefulness became crucial. The family was considered to be the main unit of production on a farm, and children were an economic asset. With the onset of the Industrial Revolution, individuality became more important than unity, and free love was encouraged. Moral codes are still subject to change, and what is considered right or wrong today may not be the same in the future. Moral standards evolve over time, and they are highly influenced by historical and environmental conditions. Thus, the morality of people from the Middle Ages would be different from ours today. The Catholic Church, past and present. The Catholic Church, once a leader in morality and charity, became corrupt in the Middle Ages and focused on promoting orthodoxy through the Inquisition. This caused them to fail in playing a role in the abolition of slavery, which was taken on by other groups, often led by philosophers. Despite losing followers due to modernization and secularization, the Church still provides comfort and hope for the future. The Catholic Church has been a prominent institution for centuries, but its influence and power have diminished in recent years. Despite this, it remains strong due to the hope it provides people. However, the Church's role in promoting morality and charity has shifted over time. Initially, the Church fought against slavery, family feuding, and other forms of national conflict and violence. Still, gradually, its stance on related issues was reversed, and it became aligned with corrupt leaders who used church as a political tool to gain more power. This shift in focus caused the Church to become corrupt during the Middle Ages and to fail in playing a role in one of the most important moral issues of the modern world, the abolition of slavery. Instead, other groups and institutions, often led by philosophers, took on this task. The Church became focused on promoting orthodoxy and religious doctrine through the Inquisition, rather than fostering morality and goodwill. Today, the Catholic Church has limited influence on people's daily lives, given that laws are created by politicians, and academically trained teachers have taken priests' place. Nevertheless, the Church continues to provide comfort and hope for the future and remains relevant to those who turn to it. Despite its tumultuous past and waning influence, it is unlikely that the Catholic Church will disappear anytime soon. Lessons from history on wealth redistribution. Wealth distribution in society is determined by moral values and economic freedom. When wealth concentration reaches critical levels, the poor resort to redistributing wealth either by legal reformation or by force. The United States had an extreme gap between rich and poor in 1968, similar to the elitist city of Rome. In Athens, Solon's reforms averted a revolution by devaluing the currency, reducing debts, and making it easier to survive economically. On the other hand, the Roman Senate's refusal to redistribute wealth led to a class civil war that lasted for centuries. The author implies that society can learn from history and implement necessary reforms to prevent similar outcomes. The past and future of socialism. Socialism has failed when implemented on its own throughout history. Even past societies, like the Incas in South America, eventually fell when using socialist principles. The classic socialist experiment in Russia only succeeded due to national security, and the USSR ultimately collapsed. However, modern socialism can work when paired with capitalism, creating a more sustainable system. Modern socialism offers people more physical and intellectual freedom, increasing production. Meanwhile, capitalist societies have limited some economic freedoms to encourage wealth redistribution through the welfare state. The threat of each system has encouraged thinkers to broaden freedom and increase equality, potentially leading to a merger of the two in the future. Evolution of governance. From aristocracies and monarchies to theocracies, democracy has emerged as a relatively new concept in human history. However, even the earliest democracies were exclusionary, with a limited voting franchise. Despite its limitations, democracy has proven to be the most beneficial form of government, providing freedoms necessary for scientific advancement and social mobility. Yet, it remains fragile and can easily crumble under threats such as war or economic crisis. The only defense against the rise of corrupt leaders is education, which allows people to understand and resist any threat to the democratic system. The natural state of war. War is natural to states and an expected form of solving complex conflicts. With no universal code of conduct for states, wars are the most efficient way to pursue their interests. Throughout recorded history, only 10% of the time, humans have lived peacefully without experiencing a war. Humans accept some behavioral codes like morals and laws in exchange for the state's protection. But the state has the same survival needs as individuals without basic protection. States' behavior is similar to individuals, but without the same restrictions imposed on them by society. States fight for survival, securing resources, and contesting other states' self-interest. It is a natural way of pursuing their interests since there is no superstate, international law, or moral code that can protect states from fighting each other. War is inevitable, and some conflicts are too complex to be resolved through negotiation. Peace is unnatural compared to war since states only unite and behave peacefully when facing a common threat, and competition disappears. Moreover, achieving world peace is a noble goal, but it's unlikely to happen unless all countries are compelled to unite against an external danger. Competition between states is an essential element for sustaining global peace, and countries must be prepared to defend their interests using all their resources. The richness of our heritage. Humans born today benefit from the achievements of the past, which have been recorded and built upon. Our society still benefits from ancient inventions such as fire, the wheel, and writing systems, along with concepts like agriculture, morality, and charity. Modern achievements like human rights, transparent judicial systems, religious and intellectual freedom have also been built upon. Education is now open to the public, and the average level of knowledge is higher than any other point in human history. Our heritage represents the progress of civilization, and each new generation adds to it.
In summary, the lessons of history sheds light on the underlying factors that have shaped humanity's development throughout time. From the essential role of geography to the unchanging nature of human instincts, Durant artfully draws connections between civilizations and their guiding principles. Throughout history, the shifting notions of morality, the pursuit of various political systems, and the persistent presence of war play critical roles in shaping societies. Despite the transient nature of these factors, knowledge and progress forge onwards, enriching the heritage of every subsequent generation. Understanding the major points of our historical journey offers invaluable insights into our world and helps us build a better tomorrow.